From the U.S. Soccer Federation in Chicago, welcome to Studio 90. With Jurgen Klinsmann in town for meetings at Soccerhouse, USsoccer.com had the opportunity to speak to the head coach of the U.S. men's national team about his review of the Olympic qualifying process and looking forward to the senior team as they get ready to embark on the World Cup qualifying process for 2014. Jurgen, it's been a little bit of time now since the Olympic qualifying tournament. Now that you've had a chance to reflect, what were your thoughts on the tournament overall?
Well, we had a chance to talk through that whole process now with Caleb Porter and get his kind of feeling for how everything went over this kind of 4-month stretch. Not only now the qualifying games, but the whole lead up towards the qualifying tournament. And obviously the result is very disappointing. There's no doubt about it, because we expected our Olympic team to go through and represent us at the Olympics in London. It didn't happen, and it didn't happen because there were several reasons for it. So we analyzed all that stuff and got his feedback, and we're very open in our discussions and move forward from now on. I think looking at his work from the outside, but also knowing him now over a couple of months, that he's done everything that he could do, to do a good job there. He learned a lot in that process. Obviously, it's a different topic to train an Olympic team with professional players than train a college team. He was very honest about everybody involved in that process, alongside him, if it's coaches, if it's the entire environment around the team, how important that is nowadays. And so he's taking a lot of things out of that whole process. Obviously, he's deeply, deeply disappointed. And the consequence at the end of the day is that it will become a lot tougher and harder now for these group of guys to reach the next level in their careers, because usually an Olympic tournament, and I experienced that on my own, is like a jumping board. It's like a trampoline, towards another level. And now they don't have that tournament, and they need to find different ways now to show their progress, to show us with the senior team that they one day want to become kind of big players in the senior team. And now this is a big setback for them.
Jurgen, you had a chance to speak to the Olympic team players in the locker room after the game. In that moment, it's probably one message. Now, when you have the opportunity to speak to them and talk about their careers moving forward, what would the key message to them be?
Well, the real key message out of that disappointment not being qualified is really now you got to go back to your club team and you got to work a lot harder than you ever did before. You got to challenge yourself more. You got to do extra work on and off the field, and you got to realize, why, you didn't qualify, and to take that in a positive way to say, I need to improve myself, and I need to show, the senior team coach or, my club coach that I'm ready for the next step. So you got to do a lot of work going back to your club team.
And so when you talk about this player pool, this age group of players, not just the players who were involved in the qualifying process, but some of the players who weren't here, players like Josie Altidore, Timmy Chandler, Danny Williams, Alfredo Morales, players that will be part of the senior team program moving forward. How do you help those guys and this entire group progress?
Well, what they need is competition. They need games. So hopefully, talking about a lot of players, they break through in their club teams. They have to do that and play on a consistent base, week in, week out, and get tested and get into stress environments, get into situations where they haven't maybe been before, and work their way through that process. Now you don't have that option anymore to get a bit of experience to the Olympic team. No, you have to do it now all through your club team. So it's going to be a little bit harder now for them. For the Bragg Shays and Agudelos of the world, it's going to be harder. You've got to show now in MLS that you are ready for the next step. You have to prove it week in, week out, and every one of them, needs to find now a different platform to show what they're able to do. And that's the biggest loss of not being qualified there. They don't have that, call it a showcase at the Olympics, where they can prove the world that they're good players now. They have to do it within their club system, and it's a little bit tougher now.
Those players will have their next opportunity in a big summer for the senior national team beginning May 15th in Orlando. 5 games in 17 days that will culminate with the start of World Cup qualifying. What will your process be for beginning May 15th to get this team ready for the next phase?
Well, our process is simply we want to do well. We want to get the first points in the World Cup qualifier. We want to play still in friendly games the strongest teams that we find out there, and I think Brazil is it's not bad for having him come to the US, but also Scotland and playing up in Canada are very, very good tests for us to see where we at. And for us, it's finally the opportunity to mold, all the European-based players with the MLS players and the Mexican players on our roster, and have a really strong camp. Then it is really kind of the point down to the point where we have to show everybody, how strong we are. And there are no excuses for it anymore. That's why we kind of start that camp in a very focused way, and not only want to do well in every friendly, but extremely then do well in the 2 World Cup qualifiers against Antigua and then in Guatemala. It's exciting because so far we had only friendly games, which are always a nice thing to do. But you need the real pressure and the real tension and stress of qualifying matches.
The under-23 team was the first team to play in official competition. Since you've been part of the program, you talked about being exciting. Is it exciting for you now as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the stuff you're looking forward to, and this is the stuff that you're working towards too. So you want to measure yourself with the best out there. Friendly games is nice to do, but you can kind of overestimate those things. So you need the real games where it counts, for points. And you need to get the points in order to kind of step-by-step qualify yourself for the World Cup. So it's time to get that started.
The U.S. men's national team is gearing up for a packed summer schedule, beginning with friendlies against Scotland on May 26th in Jacksonville, Florida, May 30th against 5-time World Cup champions Brazil in Landover, Maryland, and June 3rd against Canada in Toronto, all setting the stage for the start of World Cup qualifying, which takes place June 8th at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa against Antigua and Barbuda. That's it for this edition of Studio 90. Thanks for watching.